Let's bring in political editor at The Australian, Simon Benson. Allegra Spender there, saying that it's front of mind for many of her constituents, like it is right around the nation. And your numbers show that, didn't it? Housing is at the top of the list
Top
when
of
it
the
comes
list
to people's worries.
by a large margin. So if we lift the bonnet on these numbers, and I think the housing numbers are very instructive. So 50-50, sure, nothing much has changed over the last couple of months. That's heading towards minority government, as we've discussed many times. But again, lifting the bonnet, Labor's primary vote down to 31%. Now, I'd be pretty troubled if I were in government with those numbers. The last time they were at 31% was in November last year, following the referendum, which was, you could argue, was a reaction to a single defined event. At 31 now, what you're looking at is a trend of attrition in that primary vote. So heading into an election period, that's not where you'd want to be if you're the Labor Party.
No, and so much rests then, doesn't it, on what the RBA does. The RBA meeting today, no one expecting any rate movement today, but the government hoping there will be over coming months.
Well, I think that no one expected us to be in this position, and certainly the government didn't expect the economy to be in the environment it's in at the moment. We were meant to be on our way out of it. So they're now getting a bit desperate, I think, for some turn of event in terms of economic news that's going to lift them to a good news story heading into the election. Interest rates is clearly one of those. And going back to the point you raised about the housing numbers, that poll showing housing at 40%, groceries 25%, a huge margin there. So I think most people know this intuitively, they live it, but I was surprised, to be honest, to see how dominant housing costs, rents for the young people, mortgages for younger families and middle Australia as being such a dominant issue. And you can see that the Labor Party are aware of it. Last week was all about housing.
Yeah, indeed, and a big focus on cost of living again today. We're going to check in live with the Prime Minister from Perth in a moment. But on the approval ratings of the two leaders, a slight uptick for the Prime Minister. Will that give him some encouragement?
It will, but I don't think it will give the Labor Party much encouragement. They've gone backwards, as you point out. Anthony Albanese's numbers have improved marginally, but he's still in negative territory, -8. Peter Dutton's numbers have dipped again to -15. What you've got there are two leaders that most voters, or voters generally, aren't particularly enamoured with and aren't particularly encouraged by.
Yeah, so a lot of work to do on for both of them over the next, 7, 8 months?
7 or 8 months. Yeah.
Not a long way to go. Thank you, Simon. Appreciate your insights as always. Thank you. We'll talk to you soon.